Okay, action. Today is August 1st. It's 7:38 a.m. in the morning, and this is the Board State, episode 40. Wow, got quite a
Yeah.
few of these. My name is Jeffrey Vieira, aka Mr. V, and I am joined with my buddy across the island. Who are you, sir?
Ciao! Jack.
Hey, Jack. You're supposed to say good morning back.
No, there was some lag interruption. Sorry.
Oh,
So morning, Mr. B.
all right. We are a podcast that discusses or covers game design for social good. We highlight five socially aware news articles that we pick throughout the week and bring them, and we parse that information and present it to you in an audible and video format. Uh, just a disclaimer. Going to be a little out of it today. I'm feeling ill and not up to my energetic self. But the show must go on, so I'm not giving me a choice. I don't give myself a choice to not do the things I need to do, despite whatever frame of mind I am. So just a little disclaimer. So Jack's gonna more than compensate for my incompetence today. Okay.
I'm gonna add incompetence so it will become competence.
Right. That's it. Not. Yeah. Okay. All right. Um, First article is going to be from Delaware State News, and it is Smyrna Middle School teacher makes learning fun. Jack, what a great article this one is. What are your thoughts on it?
And it's really taking on all the advice and really just all of the statements that we've been saying on this podcast throughout, which is you could take gaming and put it into your own curriculum and your own career and go with it and have fun with it. And though this pandemic is a horrible situation that we are all going through right now, this is showcasing this event is allowing new ideas and new teaching methods and new concepts for walking to develop and grow without being restricted to social norms because most of the social norms that we had are broken. And so gaming is really taking up this mantle of that. And this is one such article that reinstating that fact. And it's a pretty good read if you want to take the concepts that she did and apply it to say if you're a teacher of your own or if you're a parent and try to connect that with your children or with your nephews and nieces.
Yeah, just a lot of what we do here is trying to say the same thing over and over in different ways, and we do that by showcasing other classrooms, because this is what we do in class too, right? I've brought game design to the classroom to better understand the community that you know you are living in, or we are living in. And yeah, so first of all, Theresa Gray, bless her heart, she's a gamer, right? She is I think specifically a tabletop gamer, and she loves tabletop games. So she had an idea of bringing her love and joy for tabletop games directly into the classroom. And she highlights in this article some of the benefits for doing such a thing. And I think this is, again, a really good reference if you're trying to get your school to agree to this. She bullet points, well, not bullet points, she covers some of the benefits for doing that. The other thing is, and I wrote this down, I know, I remember what it is she got funding through Gaming the Mind, so you can just Google that. They gave her some money or funds to purchase games for her classroom. But let me just go through some of the highlights of why you would want to bring tabletop gaming to the classroom. So, first of all, bonding through a medium, right? And uh, this is quoted directly from the article. I think so often kids find each other in sports, but if they're not a sports kid, what else might grab their interest and be a thing that socially they can do with other kids besides video games? She said. While they easily find video games, she wants to introduce them to the world of tabletop games that require the same strategy. Sitting around a table with peers gives more social engagement as well, right? Mm-hmm. Amen. Absolutely. Yeah. There's a big difference between, sitting across a controller or holding a controller and sitting across the screen and communicating with each other in audio and video format and actually sitting in front of somebody and sharing a gaming experience. Number two, using rules for textual understanding, which is very cool. As an English teacher, one of the biggest lessons she instructs throughout the year is finding textual evidence. Basically, it's arguing your point and providing it with what is said in the text. There's nothing better than a game to do that. So, another way to look at this as well, which I find is, and this is something that I've mentioned before, is in order to participate in playing a board game, all the players have to understand how the system works and how the rules are. Otherwise, the game just kind of falls apart. Whereas in a video game, the system takes care of the rules for you. You just got to know how to play your representation of your character. So that's also really great. Math, of course, no brainer. There's a lot of math, and math like skills you can learn in game. And finally, my final point on this article is positive reinforcement, and she says, you have the opportunity to boost and help them understand, you're very good at this, and your brain is very good at this kind of reasoning and deducing that you can come up with. So there's these small little victories. There's this way of looking at motivation where small successes leads to other successes, which then leads to accomplishing what you're trying to do or your goal. In this case, play the game as best as you can. So it gives you these little milestones in a tabletop format that kids can accomplish, and then you can reinforce their accomplishments, and they can move on to other accomplishments. Awesome article. Please check it out. Support them in whatever endeavors they may have. Okay, next article. I'm going to try this.
Ghost of Tsushima underscores the value of game feel.
I took Japanese. I'm gonna just say it. Sure, that was the best accent you could have done.
Ghost of Tsushima underscores the value of game feel by Mickey.com.au. What is your thoughts on this article, Jack?
I really am just impressed of the game in general. Before I talk about this article, it's basically because I didn't play the game because it's mostly on PS4, but I did watch several gameplays and basically podcasts just going at it and talking about this game. And it really is and looks like a fun game by itself. It doesn't have to be with all of these other ideas. By its core itself, it's a fun game. It's a challenging game, yeah, and you often have people making combinations of when they die, but it's still a fun game for them nonetheless. Reason why they keep on playing for it, even though they die constantly. And I really think it's a testament to the people of Japan, or just doing something that represents a people. Because in Japan, it's not talked about in this article, but in several other articles that I saw on this game, it basically sold out. And they're having a hard time getting copies to Japan because most everybody enjoys it. And so that's one thing I really wanted to highlight about this game before we tackle into this article, is the fact that if you make a game for a particular country or area, that people will support it. till their dying days. We see it with Ghost of Tsushima. We see it with other games coming from New Zealand and Poland, Cyberpunk 2077, for example. But but it really is a core concept that most game developers are having a hard time grasping because it's a new concept. But as we go along into the future, we only get more and more of these games. So going back to this article, away from that tangent, I really feel like they demonstrate why this game is being sold out in Japan and why this game is being played so much. There is a lack of controversy too. A lot of these articles are mostly positive. I'm not saying there has been recent games that does that on purpose. I'm saying that if you feel like you want to read some good news, this is one of those articles.
That's it?
Yes, Mr. B.
Wow, okay. So, thank you, Jack. So what this game is really, what this article is looking at is, it uses Ghost of Tsushima as a reference, but really what it's talking about is, and I'm looking right at it as well, Steve Swink's book, The Game Feel, right? And games feel essentially means how intuitive does your character feel, or your representation of who you are in the game, right? And this is something that actually goes outside of video games and into board game arena as well. But specifically in Steve's book, it looks at the video game medium. Well, sort of. It goes into other contextual things of like how we interact with everyday objects, much like the book Design of Everyday Things. But this is so important. This is so important. And I believe they mentioned it in the article. So this game, I believe, is from Software, right? The same guys that did Dark Soul, which is in my top 5 games. I love Dark Soul to death. But Dark Soul, the character is very clunky when he moves around, and the way he jumps and the way his movements are articulated. It is pretty choppy and clunky, right? However, in Ghost of Tsushima, the character that you're playing, I don't know what his name, Jin Sakai, I guess his name is Jin Sakai.
Jin Sakai.
Jin Sakai. I know it's like really awful dub. Like I can't stand. I'll just say this: I can't stand dubbed animation. Like it's just, and also I mean, and I know like some of my friends will always argue like, but there's good dub now, man. Those don't sound like that. That's how I hear them. But it's, I don't know. It's taking it out of the context, right?
Right.
Like, and I get it. You may have like 3-year-olds or 4-year-olds that like can't read subtitles yet, so they need to hear the "Oh, Tsukanaki, where are you going?" Right. And you know, sure, you know, for children, of course, if you want them to see, you know, Hayao Miyazaki cartoon or something, then yeah, of course, you know, dubbed is fine. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, it's to me, it's almost. I mean, I don't want to say it. I was gonna say something. It's not so horrible. Ow! But it's like you're totally removing a part of the culture that you know you're like killing the animation really, and maybe a lot of that is why animation became really popular. Anyway, what are we even talking about here? Okay, sorry. Let me just go ahead. Yes.
Could I go back into that tangent? However, due to that experiment, you now get Western and animations now blending in today. So
I mean, we always had dub though, right, man? Dub goes back to like the in fact in the early 80s everything was dubbed, right? It's like
right.
you want to Americanize everything. And in fact, in other countries, and I know this for a fact, like in Germany, because my wife was born in Germany, she said that it's like everything has to be dubbed in German. It's like a very German thing. Like they're very proud of their language. So everything has to be dubbed in German. So, but it's like you're losing the cultural context.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, game feel. All right. So the reason why I put this in here wasn't really to showcase this game. I'm sure it's great. Whatever. Have fun playing Ghost of Tsushima AAA game. I don't really like AAA games. I know. My poor friend Alan. He's like on my Facebook group. He's like on my Facebook post because I shared this article. He's like talking about like how amazing the game is, and I'm sure it's fantastic. I'm sure it's great. I just personally have no interest in playing highly produced, highly glossy. I just some exceptions. Like I mentioned, like Last of Us 2. Like I really enjoyed playing that. When I get better, I want to continue playing it. But it's really hard for me to sit down because all I am experiencing is like, or in my mind, is I'm thinking of all the meetings they've had, all the, all the managers, and well, it's from software. This doesn't really apply. Yeah, maybe I think I might have just talked myself into picking up this game. All right, game feel. What's game feel? I'm sick. Okay, come on. How do you give me that look like? You're going off on tangents again, Mr. Ray.
No. It's just amusing to me to watch, insanity creeping in.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I put this article in here because references this really awesome book called Game Feel, which is something that I don't think is talked about enough in game design, and that is how does your character act on the screen, or what is your representation on while you're playing this game. Like it's often overlooked. Like and if I'm remembering this correctly, like Mario, right? Like going back to old school original Super Mario, like that jump, like how intuitive it feels, and sometimes even as your hand will like move with the controller, like you are completely connected to the way that character moves, right? That is mastercraft design. And yeah, apparently in this game, they've mastered that. Like that character intuitively when you move the character with your joystick, how the character moves and how the characters react. And yeah, that's all in game feel. It's very important. I highly recommend checking this book out as well. I'll put a link in the show notes for it. Very, very cool stuff. Okay? All right.
Okay.
So here's a long discussion, too long discussion on
What?
Ghost of Tsushima underscores the value
of game feel. Game.com.au. All right. Next article is going to be from GameIndustry.biz. Oh, this one is. Okay, let me close this book. I was cheating and looking up the Game Feel book. Let me close that. Okay. Defying game design rules to simulate dementia in Before I Forget. Boy. Jack, what are your thoughts on this article?
Not going to lie. When I first read it, I was like, what? And not in a bad way. It was more like of why didn't I thought of that? Or like why didn't like somebody else thought of that? Like it only now happens. But or it's only now documented. And so it's honestly interesting to be frank. I'm still having a hard time understanding the concept.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically taking the ideals, if I understand it correctly, please jump in if I don't. But taking the ideals of placement and where exactly your object should be, but not and re-understanding the whole depth, like emotional wise or physically, why is it placed here, or what story is this language telling? Because most often people just tend to just really forget about that, or not, mostly due to the game developers.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a simulation type of game, right?
Yeah.
And so a couple of things I want to highlight first. First, so this is a game about, you're experiencing dementia as a game. So you are literally stepping into one that is experiencing dementia. Okay. Number two, what's super cool is the designers are two females. Freaking awesome, which is Chela Ramanan and what's her? Yeah, Claire Morwood and they formed Three Folk Games. I'm sure there's other people in might not be that might be the entire design team, design development team. But awesome. I always like my heart just soars whenever I see female game designers, because I believe it's still a very large underrepresented type of thing. Okay, now this game. So yes, in this game you are literally experiencing what it's like to go through dementia, and they've done their research, obviously, on what it's like to go through dementia. So one of the things that they mentioned is you sometimes right from it. You sometimes find when people with dementia listen to music that was important to them when they were much younger, they'll suddenly have a lot of lucidity and clarity around that, right? And I've seen that in like Alzheimer's patients where they'll listen to songs like on headphones, like a certain song, and it'll bring back all these emotions and memories of that exact moment in time where that song meant the most to them, right? So they put this in the game as well. It was really important in leading in design around the game. Most of the game is very quiet with ambient house sounds, and then there are key moments when you hear music. Sometimes the color spreads in time with the music as well, which represents the clarity she's having. So cool. So the clarity takes a visual clarity. Okay, calm down. Clarity takes a visual representation in the air. But so another thing to point out with this game is, and I haven't played it yet. I'd love to play it, but it is a simulation. It's not a fun game, right?
Right.
It's frustrating, right? Like you're because you are but I think that's part of the gameplay is you're experiencing what it's like to have dementia. Like that's their design goals for this game, which is brilliant, amazing, right? But also something to think about when you're designing a game. Maybe when you're designing this game, you want your players to feel really sad and depressed and maybe morose in the end of the game, right? Like because maybe you want them, like we mentioned last week, right? There was a game where they created a game around the plight of refugees, right? Like
Right.
there might not be a happy ending to that game, right? Or a child experiencing the loss of their parents or something like that in just a gaming experience, right? So the reason why I'm saying that is because, again, just to underline that this is what games can do, man, right? Like these
Yeah.
are these experiences that, I mean, sure, if you read about it in a story, it'd be impactful, or you watch a documentary and a movie, yeah, it would affect you as well. But like you're removed from the content, right?
Right.
Whereas like in this game, I forget, you yourself, Mr. V, Jack, whoever these people are that are listening, you are experiencing dementia in this game. It's very, very, very powerful.
And it also showcases but not so like one of the most memorable memories of like me as like a history buff wasn't from history. It was actually from a game. And so it was called it's called This War of Man. And so
Woo!
well I'm not too sure if that was the This War of Man or it was
By
basically
the
about
way,
World War One.
by the way, sorry to interrupt you, Jack. where's that studio from that made this War of Mine?
No. Oh, wait. Correction.
Is it not the P word? Are they not?
Yeah.
I
This
thought it
War of
was,
Mine is
right?
from Poland.
Ding!
But
Okay,
I
sorry.
actually
Please
want to
go
do a
ahead.
correction. It's actually called Valiant Hearts, the Great War. I see Mr. B base in disgust, and
Please go ahead. No, that's fine.
but in actuality, like
The
this this one game actually convinced me to go and research more about history
wow.
and stay with it, just because of the fact that it talks about history in a point of view where I could understand more. And
Valiant Hearts is kind of like the anime style too, right? Is that
yeah,
Valiant Hearts? Yeah, I love that game, dude. They came up with a couple, right?
and so
Yeah.
each like level has collectibles, but these collectibles are talking about the in real life history. So like there's a pocket
Valiant Hearts is awesome, bro. Yeah.
And that's one of the things what I love about this game, because if at the time I wasn't too sure I should keep going into a history buff, because I see all of these professors
Dude, I need to play this game again, man. Valiant Hearts is really good. Sorry to keep interrupting you. That's a really good game. Sorry.
I see all of these professors and being like, I can't be like that. But after playing this game, I realized, no, I could be better than that because I'm going into gaming. And so games like this about Alzheimer's and being it challenging will really encourage player base to really understand the concept that they're dealing with. And for that will become a more memorable game.
Hi. Sorry. Cool.
Yes, Mr. V, you do not have the coronavirus. Oh,
Okay.
we should beep that out before YouTube demonetize us, eh?
All right. In gamesindustry.biz, defying game design rules to forget dementia in before I forget. All right. Next article. We're jumping over to Jack's articles. This is by the WCHSTV.com. And this is South Charleson police officer making change through gaming. Jack, what is this article about?
So it's really talking about social change for good. And take what you will about police and all of the negative things that they have done, and take what you will about the positives. You gotta have to say that a lot of police actions has been negative. And for the most part, has a lot to do with diverse situations that is too much depth and big for this podcast to go into. But this, for everyday people, it's really. You okay, Mr. V?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It really is going to be just a conversation piece that we're going to have all the time, especially now with the seal. But at the same token, though, we should not forget about those who continue to solve, who really don't, who really is just getting the brute force of all this negativity. Like most of the other police officers who actually serve the community and not actually do the things we see on the news every day now. And this is one such example. And it's true gaming, well, we're all connected together, that they're really trying to rebuild and really be trying to regain trust in the community. So this one officer, Tommy Miles, is streaming online and basically playing games like Call of Duty or other games on his free time so he could raise money so that way he could buy a police ice cream truck. Not to recruit like one other organization is trying to do, but to reinstill trust back into these communities that they serve, and we tell them that we're people too. We're not just on the news. We're here trying to help you. And take what you will, but you have to agree that at least this one officer is trying. And we have other departments that are trying, but they're using gaming as a platform to do it. And that's why I want to highlight it. Gaming is now becoming a social change big enough, well, even broad and negative topics like police is now having a second light to it, and in a good way.
Yeah, awesome. Just super cool, man. Very, very cool.
Okay, moving on. You know, Polish police officers.
Ding. No, it is. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, it's a fantastic thing, and there's nothing else that I could add to that other than just restating what you just said. Um, yeah, it's very, very cool, and how gaming is. I don't know if infiltrating is the right word, but it's like infiltrating non-game related things, right? And they're using gaming to, like, the next article is gonna point out, um, bridge the distances between teacher and student. What a nice segue. So that is South Charleston police officer making change through gaming. Super awesome find, Jack. WCHSTV.com. All right. Next article. I love this title. Hey, you free on Friday for a meeting and bank heist? And a bank heist. This is by New York Times. And Jack, what is this article about?
You know, it really is showcasing how gaming has became something. We saw it with teaching, we saw it with Ghost in Tsushima, and how that became a big hit in Japan, and how it's taking core aspects of studies that you should read. We saw it in South Charleson and in the article before that talking about Alzheimer's. Now we're seeing it more in a general concept. And really, a lot of people now, due to current events, has been forced into like Skype and Zoom, and most of the time it's really uninteractive. It's really unattractive for them because it really takes a lot of time to understand, and by that time you will have errors and maybe the server will crash down, stuff like that, which will happen, becomes mundane and always not that desirable for meetings. So gaming is really showcasing its strength by having actual business meetings while they play. And so this do two things for the company, whoever takes this route, and also highlights this. One, it brings connection and bonds from high level execs to grunts. Because now they're both playing something they love and they're really making memories of that. They're not really just a boss and an employee. Though you may say, oh, that may be bad for business, overall, that will be helpful, especially during this time, as a reminder like, hey, this is one thing I have in common with my boss, or hey, this is one thing I have in common with my employees. And those memories will continue to build into positive relationships. Especially one of the quotes that they said, let's go rob in a bank in Grand Theft Auto. And this was an actual text that the boss gave to one of his employees, and they just started to tell around. You don't really see that in other businesses or business meetings. So that relationship build up that many companies desire is here. The second thing is like not that many people is actually doing it. So that means they could actually discuss a little bit more in-depth topics. and stuff like that. So, and it really allows them to have a canvas. So if they go on like armor, they will have someone like the boss could be a Zeus, and now he could make presentations using the props in armor, which includes like spaceships to trees. And it really allows people to get a sense and a new understanding of the war.
Wow, this is a really good find. I think the world's going evolutionary. The world is definitely evolving right now, right? We're not rebuilding, we're transforming, right? And where we're going to be in the end, after this, sort of settles, and if it does, will be, I would imagine, predict a hybridized type of world. Now that we're seeing the benefits of working from home, using virtual offices and virtual meeting spaces, where only the really techie, or what are they called? Like these, there's this whole scene of people who they just travel around the world and just work from their laptop, right? They just live out of their backpack, which is super cool. Like this really minimalist way of living. It's like them and techies were really the ones that were really pushing this, but now we're seeing this in every industry, right? Like you can get a medical diagnosis over the phone, right? You can order groceries over the phone, things like that. And we're going to be looking for new and innovative ways of doing this. Gaming, here we are again, right? Using established engines, and man, I'm just, number one, I'm just so happy we have a show like this just to talk about this kind of stuff, because it just reinforces in me, how important gaming is. Gaming is just a medium, like video, tabletop, whatever. Everything from pushing the hardware on, computers, right, and innovation, to to using AI gaming engines, not AI gaming engines, just using Unreal gaming engines to build AI models and things like that, using GANs and generative adversarial network, like this, like generative art and things like that. Just gaming is just so powerful beyond just escapism. And here we go again, using different platforms as meeting spaces, and the main benefit for this is really, you don't have to build anything, right? Like whenever somebody contacts me, like last week, and say, hey, we're looking at doing like virtual conferences, blah blah blah. What's a good medium to you, or not? No, what's a good platform to use? Can you build something like this, right? The first thing I do is I look up what's already established, right? And try to use that and see if that, and there may be some exceptions, because you're not going to get exactly what you want, right? Because exactly what you want generally is what you want. You would have to hire developers for that. But yeah, man, they even got Animal Crossing in here. Like you got like Minecraft, Animal Crossing, GTA, as means of like meeting spaces, and it's freaking awesome. It's so cool. That's such a brilliant idea, and you can hybridize that, right? So even like if you're going to use like Animal Crossing, for example, you could have a phone call, right? Like even if it's just like a business meeting, right? Whatever, like meet with somebody on some project. Like they can go to your island, you can sit down, have like virtual tea, but then you can be like talking to them at the same time. That's so awesome. And like Discord, right? As another example, right? Discord. I think people are using Discord beyond just a platform to like game and chat, right? Like we use it a lot just to like hang out and talk story, talk about projects as well. So, oh man, so cool.
But another good one, tabletop simulator. Anyone? it's been a while since we talked about that one, so I explained it a little bit. That application is basically allowing you to play every single board game ever created and some prototype versions and upcoming games on that platform. And it really has been not only will you see poker and stuff like that get onto the platform and have major crowds in them just watching them and watching these professional players actually play poker and have practice on
I know
it.
what's going on right now.
But also you get to see like actual business meetings and business calls being paid over Risk or Warhammer 40k. That was an interesting game. But it really is that you could take any game that has multiplayer applications and reuse it to its fullest potential.
Yep. Tabletop Simulator. I promise. Soon. Okay.
Remember podcast, he said soon.
Hey
Not
man, I was sick last night. Okay. All right, so that is going to do it for articles. We have a question of the day, which we're going to go over right. We're going to go through right now. Jack, I'm praying to the machine spirit right now. Jack, where can they email us questions, Jack?
at theboardstate@gmail.com.
America!
That means congratulations in Japanese. theboardstate@gmail.com. Again, that is theboardstate@gmail.com. Send us your questions. Give us a what's up. Let us know what you like.
Pray
and
for
what you don't like.
Mr. V.
What? Pray for Mr. V. Exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Question of the day is: what genre of board games has not been represented? I love the show, Jared. So that's a really good question. What genre of board games do you think has not been represented, Jack?
So I wanted to ask before we go into this question: is this the same guy or a different guy?
From what?
No, because then we had like another question from like Jared.
I could look at the email. See if it's the.
But so one of those things about, to me, one of the major genres.
Different email. Sorry, it's a different email.
Gotcha. One of the major genres that I really think that doesn't get identified is probably, what was it? I had it down here. Storytelling. And my main reason is that it's really, at least for me, especially in going on road tabletop simulator, you don't really see that much input and guys going into storytelling, and if so, it's usually Dungeons and Dragons or any of the other RPG mechanics. There's really a lack of storytelling, and I know Mr. V has a game that has storytelling, but not all of us have thousands of dollars.
Hey! Shh! Shh!
No.
So it's really cool with Fairy Tale is you're actually crafting the story as you're playing with these characters. So it's so cool with these cards. You're actually oh man, I love board games, man. Oh, it's been the card. Damn it. Yeah, sorry.
So moving back on.
Save me from the dragon.
The insanity when you lose in Call of Cthulhu demonstrated.
She's taller than the dragon. She could just like give him a slap, like what? You ain't gonna take me. I don't know what sounds like that now.
I don't know why it was.
Sorry. Please continue.
Put the pieces away, please.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry, Jack. Getting too excited here. Okay, go on, Jack. Sorry.
Okay. Um, yeah, so you don't really see that concept in gaming that much, and if you do, it's often to a limited degree. Like for a couple games, maybe you would get the chance to experience storytelling, and that's really I wish to for them to expand upon, especially for like native games like ourselves in Hawaii. There's a lot of games where they use storytelling instead of actual physical objects or stuff, and that really showcases on how simple and easy the game is could play and how it could understand from a tourist to a native without any hassle. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So here's my genre. It's not really a genre, but like a theme. I think would be really cool to make is. I don't think there is anything like it. There could be, and I'm just forgetting because I'm like sick right now. But I love to see a game where it's not a post-apocalypse disaster, where it's like a major economic meltdown or like Chernobyl happened or something like that, and the players have to essentially rebuild their city or their nation or their country. And I think it'd be really interesting is if the players represent different ideologies, right? So if one player represents like I don't know,
Fascism.
liberal fascism, whatever. Yeah. No, totally. I mean, and like go there, like go to the extremes, right? Like go to the extremes, like fascism or like I don't know, even like fundamental Christian, fundamental Islam, like whatever, right? But like somehow, in order for them all to survive, they have to get together and kind of push aside their ideologies, right? Just for the time being, like they can go back to arguing and pointing fingers and holding signs, whatever. But but rebuilding um, the world first, I think would be a really cool idea because who was I talking to? I was talking to somebody, and they were asking me why they're asking me. They're asking me what, in my opinion, would it take for the world just to really work together right now? Like everyone just kind of set aside all their beliefs and whatever, which is hard, right? Like that's your fundamental beliefs is like the core of who you are. But like, what would have to happen for everybody to get together and unite, right? And if anything,
Right?
what history has taught us is really this bad disasters have really kind of done that, right? And I think, I mean, what's happening now is very bad, definitely. But I mean, like, I'm talking the scale of like, and this is like Jeff talking, of course, but like, I'm talking like alien invasion, or you know what I mean, like something like on that magnitude where everyone's like, holy crap, or like um, AI coming online, like this artificial intelligence sentient being awakening. That like it's such a moment of singularity. It's such this omnipotent event that like I don't care what kind of deodorant I'm buying today. You know what I mean? Like these little petty things that you may think is like really like traffic no longer becomes an issue because there is this 200-foot alien sitting on Mount Rushmore, wondering how to take over the world, right? Like these little petty things is no longer like work. The idea of like earning a living, like all that's like secondary now. Like we talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs like just like is disintegrated because now it's safety, I guess, is one, um, but now it's like, holy crap, like, what are we going to do? There's this 200-foot alien just chilling on Mount Rushmore, digging his nose, trying to figure out how to take over the world.
Now it's more down to a basic concept. How do I survive? It's not really like, oh, here comes the
Well,
next bills.
well, the point of that is it's not. I mean, thank you for that. But the point is not how can I survive. I mean, yeah, definitely, individualistically, I'm going to do some. Sorry.
I love you too, Mom.
His mother. I love her too. In
I love you too.
Please take care.
Thank you. Be safe, Mom.
Individually, you would say, yeah, my survival is definitely, I need to survive, right? But you can't survive all by yourself, right? You can't. There's no way you can lift that mountain alone. You're gonna need other people to help you, and that's when like people get together and be like, I don't care what color your skin is, your eye color, whatever. None of that matters. There's a 200-foot alien digging his nose, trying to figure out how to take over the world. So anyway, yeah, that would be my theme.
Yeah, and I honestly think that's
Let's make that game.
yeah. Let's do it.
Sure. We'll add that to the list. Which actually, I'll just say this: we're starting we're starting the backlog next week, right? Are you in on this? Are you in on this? Right,
Yeah. We should make a T-shirt to be like, "Are you in? Are you in on this?" And behind on the back side, Poland shrunk.
Yeah. All right, so that's gonna do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. Yeah.
Oh, before we go,
what's up? Yeah.
if you want to go on a competition that is currently going on right now, and where the potential reward is a new PS5 and
Nice.
several other rewards, please go on our Facebook group page, Facebook, this I will, the slashing I will,
Facebook.com.
Facebook.com/groups/AO8ARG.
That's it. Please check it out. Yeah, it's super. We work really hard on it.
We'll
Yeah,
continue to work hard for it.
We're continuing to. Yeah, it's this living game. It is.
If you want to watch an indie game developers go insane for a live product, you can watch it right there.
Right. Okay, man, that's gonna do it. Thanks, Jack.